thank you very much for this. I'm always anxious when I'm speaking to English-speaking audience. In fact, that's the second time. The first one was 1.5 hours ago. The first one. Okay. But I'm here today to speak about, as a SAC person by Vodafone, okay, but also as a Greek citizen, as a Greek worker, and as a European worker too. But I'm not going to speak about the guinea pig of Europe, as Greece is referred to at the media, and I'm not going to speak about things being difficult in Greece. But I'm going to speak about the determination that we have to change this situation. This is why I'm here for. And this is why, in order to show that determination, I made this 24 hours trip. So I'm going to show that we're really determined. Anyway, so I want to start with the trade unions in Greece and the fact of my sacking, and which is the occasion anyway now in Greece. So what happens? The government has changed, as you know. Syriza came in power in January, but the trade union's leaderships haven't changed still. So I was informed, as I was here yesterday, that yesterday the leadership of the greatest trade union of the private workers, it's called the National Committee of Workers in Greece, are calling the workers to vote yes to the referendum. So they are calling them to vote in favor of the austerity, in favor of the cuts in salaries, of the cuts in pensions, in favor of their death. So it is an important thing that we have a left government, but on the other hand, it is also an important thing that we don't have things and networks like the National Shop Stewards Network here. And this is a crucial problem that we have right now in Greece. As far as my story is concerned, my sacking, let's say, I would say that everything began when we started organizing our colleagues, our workers, in order to participate in the trade union. You see, what Vodafone Greece is doing is that it is trying to divide their personnel into 2 or 3 or 4 different levels or gears, let's say, of employees. There are those who are contracted and they're paid directly by Vodafone. So they are paid with something like 900 euros per month for an 8-hour job per day. And there are the rest of them, the outsourcers, as they're said, that are divided in 6 or 7 different outsourcing companies, which they are paid for the same job for 560 euros if they work for 8 hours a day, or for 333 euros if they work for 5 hours per day, as I was doing. And this is only if you are over 25 years old, because if you are under, you are even paid less. For example, for someone who's a teenager, it's 480 euros per month. This is not a salary that you can live with. This is something that all of you can understand. And there's also a huge bunch of personal targets that you should achieve in order not to be sacked. So in order to be paid with these salaries. For example, in my work, I would have anyway, because I'm sacked right now, I would have to speak to each one of you, if you were a customer of Vodafone, for just 245 seconds in order to convince you for everything. That's a personal target. Then you should make an excellent evaluation on me. So my evaluation should be at 50%, tops. This is a matter of mathematics too, because I would be evaluated in a good way only if you evaluated me with 8 or 9, because if you evaluated with 7 and under, this would be negative for me. Anyway, and of course, the thing that you shouldn't do ever is to organize in a trade union. So what we did, along with the trade union of the Vodafone contracted, let's say, workers, which was created in 2008, is to start organizing our colleagues in the trade union, even if, in legal terms, let's say, it was restricted. It was against the law, let's say. So we were nine people, 9 outsourcers that we made this decision. So what they did when we declared these committees of outsourcers is that they sacked my colleague Vicky Kostopoulou because of, for reasons of performance. That was the official thing that they said. Later on, 1 week later, they sacked me because, as they said, I broke the rules for safety in the building that I was working, and that was because I transferred Vicky with my car to the building that she was working in order to organize a demonstration on the day of her sacking. So, in kind of terms, I was a terrorist, let's say, for Vodafone Greece, for driving into a colleague of mine that had lost her job. So what we did, and this is the important part of the story, is that we organized public meetings, and it was in the working places. And these were not public meetings as we had seen in the previous year. On the previous years, in the private sector, because the situation is so difficult, we could see public meetings of 20, 25, 30 tops colleagues. So the public meetings that we organized after our sackings was of 80, 100, 180 colleagues. And what we decided through these public meetings is to go on strikes. So till now, there are already 2 strikes in Vodafone in Athens, and there were 2 successful strikes. And the first one, we accumulate that the 75 to 80% of the colleagues that work in the call centers went on strike, and the second one, it was even worse. So this gives us a pure essence of the power that we have if we do intervene in the correct way within the working places as trade unions. Of course, an important role in this played the international solidarity that we've seen both in the UK, from you here, but also in other countries. It is really important for us, and it's also really important for Vodafone, because all these trademarks, all these enterprises, they really care about their name. So when they see that in different countries or in different cities in Greece, someone intervenes and says that they are a bad company or whatever, they're sacking people, etc., it's really important for them. They lose money from these things. And when there are propositions, as the one that I heard in the morning, from trade unions to cancel their contracts, of course, that's even better. We've seen that elements in Greece too. There are some trade unions that they will do it. So if a trade union here, whoever can do it, it will be really helpful to our fight too. I should comment on this that bosses are organized, are really organized. So we should be organized on the other hand, and they are organized internationally. So this is what we should do always. Because there can't be a left government right now like the one that there is in Greece without an organized labor, because I really believe, I strongly believe that the labor movement in Greece is not that organized as it may seem from the outside, but it can be no austerity, no right-wing, let's say, or no austerity, let's say, government with an organized labor movement. So it can work the one way, but it cannot work the other way. That's why it is important. So I would say that the tragedy of our ages is the tragedy of the corrupted, of the rotten trade union leaderships. This is something that we should change. As for Syriza, I want to be clear on something. Syriza came in power with a program that was saying that as far as the labor movement is concerned, new contracts will be signed, new contracts for all the laborers. This is something that hasn't happened till now. They said that we would go back to the salaries that we were taking 3 years ago. This is also something that has never been done. But the most important thing is that there is no real intervention, there is no serious intervention of Syriza members, of Syriza local organizations within the labor movement. And that's a major problem for us. For example, In our sackings in Vodafone, they intervened in just one intervention that we created. So that's a problem too. When we went to the minister who is in charge for the labor things, for the labor aspects, he said that we will see what will happen. We cannot speak against outsourcing because it is a European Union decision, etc. So this is an actual problem for us. This is something that we should change. So the trade union and the trade unions movement and the rank and file trade unionists should move, I think, independently from this kind of parties with governments, even if they are in power, even if they have the power to impose measures like this, and when they don't do it. So, the second part of my speech will be about the situation in Greece. I would like to start by rephrasing Marx a little bit. I would say that there is a spectre haunting Europe. It's a spectre of no, of ochi, as we say. It's ochi, not oxy. Yeah. Okay. So, what happened? Okay, I feel a bit depressed because yesterday, we had the biggest demonstration ever in Athens. So we cannot really be sure about the numbers. It is only counted in hundreds of thousands. There are some that say it was 300,000, 500,000. This is not a matter of numbers, of course. The fact is that if you see the videos or whatever, it was huge. And compared to the Yes campaign, it gets even more big, let's say, even bigger, because it was it had much less people. So this gives us a pure essence of the perspectives. There is a perspective, the main perspective right now, as we see it from Greece, as it comes from the discussions that I had with comrades and friends before, is that we will win. And we will win against the massive propaganda from the Yes campaign, a massive propaganda that it is out of your imagination. I cannot be more clear about this. You cannot imagine the propaganda that right now takes place in Greece. It is calculated, let's say, that in the 6 nationwide, let's say, networks, the Yes campaign had in the news, anyway, had 1 hour of, TV screening, anyway, whilst the No campaign had only 4 minutes. 4 minutes. So this is the situation in which we campaign. They closed the banks, and they were showing people making queues outside the banks to withdraw the 60 euros that we can withdraw every day. If you go to the banks, because we went to the banks and we intervened to these people, you will find old people saying that we've been through the World War II, the military agenda, we've been through a lot of things, the Nazis, whatever. We will be through this situation. It's not that difficult for us. So what a left government should do this time is to give a perspective to these people. If you see at the polls, they say that the 58%, a stunning 58% of the productive ages between 18 years old and 44 years old are supporting the No campaign. And it is the 68%, it is 68% among the workers, those who work in the private and in the public sector. In this situation, we have a party, a communist party, the so-called Communist Party of Greece, which says that we shouldn't vote for No, because if we vote for No, we support the Syriza government. So this is a mistake to do. It's a shame, indeed, for the history of this party and for the members of this party, the individual members of this party right now. What's going to happen? Really, nobody knows. We are campaigning for No, but there are several levels between the No campaign. There is the No of the Syriza leadership. They say that we will use the No of the referendum in order to have a better agreement, in order to negotiate from a better position. We say that this is a mistake. There is the no from the far rights and the Nazis. 3 days before the referendum, they were saying that the only solution, the only way that Greece could follow is inside the Eurozone. When the referendum was announced, they said, probably the employers called them and said, that you should say no. And they say no in order to take advantage if Syriza leadership betrays the movement that is coming up right now. And there's a third option. There's our option on no, that says that we should have a plan B. We call for the government to really consider in a really serious way what will happen on Monday if no is winning the referendum. Because as they have declared, Varoufakis, the Minister of Economics, declared that the money that the state has is through Monday. From Monday on, there will be no money for us. So if the Central European Bank doesn't give us euros, we won't have money in order to pay the salaries, the pension, or whatever. This is what they are saying. What we are answering is, do you have a plan B? Nowadays, we should have a plan B. We cannot be, this is something that I strongly believe, we cannot remain in this currency, under these circumstances, under these blackmails, under these people, anyway, being in power in the European Union. But what does this mean? Is it a problem of currency? No, we answer that it's not a problem of currency. It's a social problem, it's a politics problem. So it's about the policies that the government will follow if no is voted. If the key that they are preparing for us does not go further. So what we should do, as far as the debt is concerned, I would be. Yeah. As far as the debt is concerned, the debt we should declare, the government should declare that is illegal. We won't pay for these debts. We don't own this debt. It's not ours. As for the banks, we've paid 260 billion over 5 years of memorandum for the banks. We cannot pay anymore. They are our banks. We should take them into our hands. We should nationalize them. We should go on with our own currency. This is not a nationalistic way of thinking. This is a way of thinking practically. We cannot have the European Union or the IMF or whatever will not give us euros if we proceed in these policies. We should take the economy in our hands, and this means to take our lives in our hands. Because look at what they did. In the name of the investors, and the investments and the private sector, they have created 30% of the Greek people to be unemployed, the rest of them to be employed with the salaries that I mentioned before, and thousands of them to commit suicide. The unemployment around the youth is on the 60%, something like this. This is the work that they had created for us. We are in favor of Europe. But we are in favor of Europe of the people. Yeah. So let the European people unite against the austerity and let us say a huge no to all this situation and take our lives in our hands. Thank you.